Sup? Sup? Caleb. So we've been writing a lot. It's kind of a thing. Writing. Using voice to text is just pretty much what we can do right now, and writing. Things are a mess. But I wanted to review some thing called Rory's Story Cubes. I got these forever ago. Forever ago. And I've actually kept them and used them over the years. It was originally supposed to be a game, I think. Yeah, it's by Game Right. And I have 3 of the sets. I have the original set and then 2 of the themed sets. Pretty much what these are is... Oh, I still have the instructions in here. That's perfect. Oh, there goes one. Pretty much, if you went to Target, I don't know if they sold them at Walmart. My time with them has never been determined by Walmart. So pretty much it's a set of cubes that you get, and they're dice, and you can use them to write. And I used them for a lot of story brainstorming when I was younger. It's called Rory's Story Cubes. Is a pocket-sized creative story generator, providing hours of imaginative play for all ages. With Rory's Story Cubes, anyone can become a great storyteller, and there are no wrong answers. Simply roll the cubes and let the images spark your imagination. How to play. You can play it as a game. I never used these as a game. I didn't have friends. I didn't play with people. I didn't do that. Anyways, they came originally in this, and there's 9 dice. And they have all kinds of different pictures on them. There's like this like sleep paralysis demon looking thing. And then there's like the keyhole directions. I didn't show you the keyhole. There's even earth and fire and locks and credit cards and fountains and stuff. So, and they're all pretty decent, and I used to roll these to write stories, and I actually used them for a long time. I haven't used them in a while, and I want to actually brainstorm for my next story after I finish the one I'm writing right now. And so I'll use these to help with that, and maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of like a, ooh, this is what it looks like. But I wanted to show you the sets first, and whether or not I think they're effective or not. So this is the mystery set, is the clue set, sorry. And this one's in a set of 3 instead of a set of 9. And these ones were one of my favorites because I was a weird kid and I liked murder mysteries. So like there's a pin number, a heart, a gavel, I think that's what it's called, a chess piece, a thumbprint, and a microscope on this one. Did I do everything on that one? Yeah. Then this one's got blood splatter, spider web, a lineup, and a safe. But it's also got DNA right there and handcuffs. And these are all in purple ink instead, so you know which sets they're in, which I thought was creative. This one's got a rat, a siren, like an alarm. Rat alarm. I'm gonna assume that's poison. And then a suspicious face. And then of course you've also got the chalk outline of a body and a file. And so this one was actually my favorite because I like to write mysteries specifically. And so that's what the clue set looks like, and they're in a purple case, so you know it goes in the purple one. And then there's the last case that I have, which is the enchanted set, which is like fairy tales and stuff. I don't know how many other sets there were. There's probably more. I don't remember them, and I don't remember where I got these. I think they were a gift. But the first one is a bunch of trees, and then Little Red Riding Hood, and then a bird cage, a gnome, a baby thing, and then a wolf howling at the moon. Then there's a cat, the stick with the clothes in it, a flute, a frog, a little gremlin, I like this one, and then an old lady who could be a witch. And there's a fairy of spiral, which I assume is like transportation, a well, a mirror, a tiara, and a tower. And that's what that set is. So in the past, these were all effective for me. In the past, these were very effective for me and very much something I liked to use a lot when I was writing. So I guess today I just want to see if they're still effective for me, if they're still something I enjoy to use. I have paper on the floor. I could roll it on paper or I could roll it on my bed, on the blankets. I'll probably roll it on the paper so it's easier to see. I need a notebook. I've got a notebook right here. That's a to-do list. That's Alex's to-do list. We're gonna ignore Alex's to-do list because I don't care. I say that and he's gonna come up here. But here's my okay. There's that, and then there's a pen. Let's get started. Okay, so I like to write fantasy these days, and I do also like myself some mysteries still, so I'm going to put those on there. And then, of course, I'm going to use the original set. Is that all of them? Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so here I've got 12 things, which is great because I can do one thing per chapter if I want. But yeah, let's see how this goes. So I'm going to grab the first 3. Okay, so there's a bridge, a tower, and a hand. So I guess stop someone from crossing the bridge to go to a tower. So this will be what it's about. So, I'll write that down. Hand, bridge, tower. Okay. So that could be prologue. And then I'm going to grab a couple more. Oh, I got a purple one in here. Okay, I got a thumbprint, a key, and an arrow. So, there's a few things I could do with that. Thumbprint, key, arrow. Oh, do I have a story time about a guy named that? Alright, and then I'm going to do 4 this time. Alright, we got a sleeping person, I don't even know what this means. I don't know what that means. I'm going to roll it again. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay, a padlock, an old lady, and a safe. Funny that I have 2 locks in this one. Okay, so sleeping person, padlock, old lady, and safe. I put that as a noun. I could do it abstract if I really wanted to. And then I've got 5 left, so I will do 2 things here. Okay, we got another tower and a parachute. I feel like this is like it can be a retelling of Rapunzel. Wouldn't that be funny? Okay, so that's 2 in this one. And then my last roll, the last ones here, is the baby, the alarm, and the earth. Oh boy. So the baby carrier, alarm, and earth / planet. Okay, so we're gonna go over this and see what I can come up with based off of this. Okay, so let's go over this again. So for my first roll, I got a hand, a bridge, and a tower. So I like to use these as like images of what's going on, and so I want to use this as like the prologue, the setting. And so there's a hand, usually associated with stop or helping. A bridge is something like a threshold, and then tower could be holding something. So I really don't want to go around the Rapunzel approach because I did get the tower twice. So first I may do a metaphorical tower. So how about helping bridge tower? So there's a young person and they are named Dan, and they decide to go across this bridge. And when they go across this bridge, they come across this tower. And when they come up to the tower, it's interesting because, like, maybe, just maybe, oh yes, perfect, okay. And see, it's already working. So like, he comes across the tower, they come across the tower, and like, essentially so next to them print key and arrow. Essentially, they come across the tower, and it's a little weird because like there hasn't been any fresh towers built, because in this world, say, like, magic is all real and stuff, and there's dragons and all kinds of fun things. And so he, she, they, I'm gonna make them gender fluid because that's what I like to rate my character as right now. I haven't decided. So Dan is like going around this tower like, whoa, how old is this thing? We haven't had a new tower in forever. And they find a keypad that has a thumbprint access to it, and there's an arrow pointing at it and being like, you gotta put in the key. And Dan's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna take the Flint Rider approach. And so there's, next I rolled a sleeping person, a padlock, an old lady, and a safe. So maybe Dan finds a way to get inside. Dan has an arrow on them. Because of the key and the arrow. And Dan pries apart the thumb reader, and for some reason Dan's like super smart into these things. Maybe Dan is kind of like Robin Hood a little bit, and yes, I did read Robin Hood. I understand the conceptions. I will reread it if I need to in order to defend Dan here. But so Dan is like Robin Hood, and so for some reason they're super smart, and they're like, yeah, really into this kind of stuff. And so they go in, and there's like a staircase, and they go up the tower, and they come across someone sleeping, and it's an old lady, and the old lady is behind a door that does not have a lock on it, and the old lady's sleeping. So Dan's just like rifling around in her stuff for some reason, and comes across a safe with an extra set of chains and a padlock around it. And Dan's like, this is something I want to get into. And so next is the tower and the parachute. So pretty much tower card in tarot is like chaotic, right? So I could go off of the tarot reading, or I could be literal and say another tower thing. Well, he needs to get out of he needs to get out of the tower anyways. So they get a hold of the parachute and uses the parachute to get out of there. And maybe they're still holding the safe. Maybe the reason they use the parachute is so that they could jump out, throw the safe, so the safe would get damaged and break open. And that's a really poor design for a safe, but I think it would work, possibly. We're gonna say it worked because of magic. And so when Dan lands, so what I have next is baby carrier, alarm, earth, planet. Okay, so an alarm is going off, and Dan lands is like, oh shoot. And so when they open it up, there's all kinds of like old herbs that are from the earth that are really important and really like dangerous if in the wrong hands. And Dan has a baby carrier nearby with a realistic baby doll in it, so that it looks like Dan is taking their baby around and stuff. So Dan shows all the goods in the bag underneath the fake baby and takes off. And that's all I've got for that. So see how easy that was? I could have just come up with something absolutely wild, and I would have never thought of in a million years without these story cubes. So I do want to say that they probably are still really effective for me. I could probably do a little better. I can roll a couple of times instead of just going off of what the one roll is, and I don't even have to roll. I could just align the pictures how I want to see how a scene goes. And honestly, I think it's a good idea to use visual like that when writing. So I would say that this was still a useful tool for me, even 7-8 years later. I don't know what year they were actually released. 2014. Wow, yeah, 7, 8 years or later. I was right. So honestly, I think it would still be useful. So if you could get a hold of these, they'd be really useful for you, I guess, for some people. For some people, it's not very useful. There's like generators online that you can use to generate prompt and stuff. This is how I like to generate my prompts, at least I used to anyways. And I would like to do it again, so maybe I can start doing that. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you guys to see part of my writing process, how I learned how to write originally before I started getting away from them. Because sometimes I feel like I've gone a more serious approach with my books rather than the whimsical stuff like Robin Hood breaking into Tangled's tower, you know. So I'm hoping that having this will be good practice for me to not be so serious, you know, less about saving the world and more about being Robin Hood. Alright, hope that was helpful. Bye.